Today, I was given this monitor from Desklab. Well, it was technically about 2 months ago, but I've been so busy with other things that I just want to start by saying thank you for your patience, Desklab. Either way, this is a portable monitor, which I'm very interested in lately. So let me tell you about my experience with Desklab's portable monitor, and whether or not this is worth the purchase. Hello everyone, this is Matt from Real World Review. You know how YouTube works, so I'm just going to leave the socials listed above and let you get settled in for this review. Ready? Let's get started. But as always with these types of videos, before we get started, I want to let you know that I was given this monitor for free, and in return, I'm going to be reviewing this product. Like other product videos, if I hated the product, you would never see this video in the first place. With that said, I have so far enjoyed all the products that have been sent to me, whether it's from this company or other companies. For this video, the script was shared to Desklab prior to me even making the video. But this was only changed for this sentence and the next one that I'm going to do. They are seeing this video at the same time that you are. At the end of the day, for every video, I'm here to show my honest opinion on the products and how I used them. There will be an affiliate link where you can buy the product, and I will get a commission from that. The commission, revenue from the YouTube video itself, and the fact that the monitor was given to me for free is the only money and compensation that I am receiving for this video. Now that I have all of that out of the way, let's break down this monitor. Well, not literally. So the first step is really to talk about the display. This is a 15.6 inch IPS LCD screen that comes in 1080p or 4K formats at 60 Hz. This one being the latter, and both sit at 16:9 screen ratios. So that's either 141 or 282 pixels per inch, making this a higher pixel density when compared to the brand new 16-inch M1 series MacBook Pro. Just not as bright, sitting at about 400 nits peak brightness. My current 500 nit MacBook is clearly brighter, but take it down a notch and it's pretty much the same. As for the quality, very similar, but slightly sharper thanks to that 4K display. I'm extremely picky on the quality of the screen, so video can look fine, but the color accuracy is a little bit off. I wasn't able to figure out how to make it perfect, and the HDR button messed with the image a lot. But I also don't know what I'm doing with the other features, other than raising the brightness. When expanding a computer, this will either make the image look better or very similar, which kind of blew my mind as soon as I started using this. But when playing games, the image looks kind of off, often being very bright, but could be a setting on the console that I messed up. Speaking of consoles, I got something to bring up in a few minutes. The display does support touch, which is very interesting because Samsung DeX and most Android phones will support touch if you use the included USB-C cable. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to work on iPhones, and with the USB-C iPads, it does some weird cursor thing. But when connected to a Mac, it actually supports touch input, something I was pretty sure it wouldn't. Same thing with Windows. As for viewing, we get this kickstand thing, which needs adhesive, even though there are magnets. It is a little strange, but works pretty well when installed, to help prevent from scratches, but also to prop up the monitor. The viewing angles are rated at 178 degrees, which is pretty accurate, but the viewing angles up and down are kind of weak. I would say about 100 degrees. With that said, you are supposed to look at it straight on or from the sides, not to the top. As for the thickness, they say 3.5 millimeters, while the thickest part seems to be about 7 to 8 millimeters thick, so a little bit thicker than an iPhone, which is pretty sleek. As for the contrast ratio, if you are wondering, this is 1200 to 1, and the monitor's response time is 20 milliseconds. The latter I have no complaints on. Overall, it feels like the screen is overly bright, which isn't really a bad thing, but more of something to get used to settings-wise. That aspect isn't plug and play, so it's something to consider. Now there are a few ports on here, some you should learn about. For one, you have the option of HDMI or USB-C to plug into, with USB-C allowing for touch on devices that allow for touch. This makes it compatible with pretty much anything that allows for video out, whether it's via HDMI or USB-C. If you use HDMI, you do need to power this monitor with a USB-C plug that's around 15 watts or higher. This monitor operates at 9 watts with 50% brightness and a steady 12.6 watts at 100% brightness. So in theory, a 10 to 15 watt charger should work, but I highly recommend 15 or higher. This comes with a 20 watt charger in the box, if you buy the 4K one apparently. though it does seem to allow 100 watts of power in, taking 15 watts out of whatever charger you plug in. That's why I can plug it into my MacBook and receive 85 watts from this 100 watt brick. I really wasn't expecting this much pass-through power, so this is definitely a welcomed feature. As for the USB 3.0 port on the side, it seems to work. However, my MacBook is only giving me 2.0 speeds, which is a common limitation to Macs unless you use a proper adapter. Either way, I would use it for something like a keyboard or a mouse if I were you. So when using it with the PS5, it was alright. I was actually able to somewhat power it from the PS5. And it is usable, but a TV would definitely look better. But what really stood out for me is the Nintendo Switch. So plug the monitor in to power with, I guess, 40 watts or more, and this single cable puts the Switch in docked mode. It does only go to 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is normal for a Switch, but still an amazing extra that this monitor gives you. There's no touch support for the Switch, but that wouldn't really make sense either way. This alone was an awesome thing to see. For the stand, it definitely feels cheap, but it works pretty well. Somewhat flimsy, but it can be folded into a standing monitor, a vertical one, or a reading/studio style. There is adhesive and magnets that make it stick to the device, and it never really felt like it was going to fall off, so this gets a pass for me. The speakers are decent. They work for regular talking, but they're not super loud, and that's pretty standard for these types of devices. There is a headset jack on here, so feel free to use that, Bluetooth headphones, or your computer speakers, if that's how you're plugging it in. As for adjusting all the settings, there are 3 buttons on the side, up, down, and select. You can use those or touch screen to change the settings. There aren't many instructions, and the manual is somewhat confusing, so you'll just have to figure it out on your own. I wish there was some labeling under the actual dials, but maybe I'm just dumb and don't really understand all the icons. Overall, I am very impressed with the features, but some added ones are kind of half-baked. Now, you've probably been wondering what the price is, and well, so am I. On the Desklab site, it's listed at $700, but dropped down to $400 for the 4K and $300 for the 1080p version, while the normal price is $500 for that one. If you want a dual setup, you get a little over 10% off at $718 and $538 on the 4K and 1080p models, respectively. Now, this does seem like a lot, but just for the brightness alone, this is actually a really good deal. You can find monitors with this size with a higher or lower price tag, but they're all featuring 200 to 300 nit brightness, while this one maxes out at 400 nits. Sure, I'm not comparing them in person, but brightness is brightness. If it lacks the right brightness, this is not going to look good for games, editing, browsing, and so on. For this size, the Desklab 4K portable monitor has everything you need at a reasonable price. So, should you buy it? I would say yes. This is a pretty capable monitor, but I do want to address the fact that the images and some of the specs are incorrect on the website, at least when compared to the monitor that I received. Maybe they upgraded the model and forgot to change things, especially since this has a full-sized HDMI port while they state mini HDMI and micro USB port, which is a regular USB port. But overall, I did love using this monitor, even with its minimal faults. And that's my review of Desklab's 4K monitor. Like I said, I was given this monitor for free, and this review is no way influenced by that or Desklab in any way. Sure, free is better than $400, but it does feel like a reasonable price for what you get. And like I said, the link below to buy this does support the channel, so thank you for that. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and as always, thanks for watching.